Is there the notion that we've been doing this wrong when it comes to audio?
Well, it's not that we haven't been doing it right. It's just that some bad deals were made. And, you know, the effect of the big tech companies was underestimated.
I mean, the music world's always been playing catch up with technology, though. I mean, or at least that's what seems like it's gotten us into this jam where music becomes this thing that's secondary to video games and to movies, and people are losing touch in a lot of ways with music because it didn't immediately sort of follow the curve of technology.
It didn't ever. It went on the opposite tack. Sort of when something goes up, something must go down. It was like everything went up and music, audio quality went down. Because it was, you know, audio quality is another one of many features of the smartphones and the devices. It's one of many features. So it's not treated like a special thing. And that's fine. The problem with it is that it never was. There's no counterpoint to it. It's like we have McDonald's and we have Whole Foods, you know, or we have, you know, you got, you know, you got, say, your Honda Civic and you got your Rolls Royce. I mean, you got whatever it is. There's top and bottom.
Right.
Except when it comes to the way music is presented, you have only bottom, really.
Well, and it's in a lot of ways because we've made it about ones and zeros now instead of what you're doing in a studio, right? I mean, what you're doing in a studio has been lost in this translation to ones and zeros.
It's, well, ones and zeros are okay as long as there's enough of them. And the artists make these records and they sound great in the studio, but then they don't make it to the people. So what Pono does, and what our whole thing is based on, is just to deliver exactly what the artist created. Now, some artists create at the highest resolution, and they make the best sounding records, and other artists don't. And because maybe they can't afford it, maybe it's too expensive, or maybe they don't think it matters because their producers have told them, well, people can't hear that. There's a lot of knowledge and misinformation about the whole thing. But really, it's not about science. It's about listening. You listen to it, and if it sounds great, then that's what an artist wants, you know. So if the artist is given a chance to hear something that's really good, that's the way they're going to want to do it.
When you come out of the studio, you turn over these masters, and then some guy's buying it online. I mean, there's a lot being lost in that translation, and that's got to be frustrating for you as a guy who makes music. Just fundamentally a guy who makes music.
For me and for all of my friends. I mean, all of the friends that we play Pono for, they go and they just, well, the testimonies on the Kickstarter video, you can see it. I don't need to say it. No one told them what to say. It's just real. It's just real. MP3 is less than 5% of the data. Less than 5%.
Right.
Yet you pay about half what you used to pay for 5% of what you used to get.
And if you're paying 20% more for the full thing,
whatever,
that's a bargain.
Yeah, and the record companies can set their prices, and we sell the records. That's what's happening. That's because they have a whole new control now because it's theirs. We're selling the high-resolution masters. This is what it is. We sell these things. They sound great, and our player plays them back exactly as they were recorded. We don't do anything to them. And so the record companies have a new thing there with that, where they have the quality that was created by the artist. Now they can offer it. There's a system that can play it back.
I'm not sure this is devil's advocate, but if we've got a generation, I mean, your ears are trained a certain way, mine, because I know life before digital music, are trained a certain way.
That's right.
But if you're a kid today, does this matter to you? I mean, why? You don't know the difference. And I'm not sure you're seeking it.
Well, I'll tell you what. You're not. You're not seeking it, but kids are curious. When the kids hear that something could be better than what they have, they're not jaded. They're open. They want to hear what's going on. If something's new, and everybody says it's better, there isn't a kid on earth that doesn't want to know what that is.
Right.
And so, for instance, for my daughter, when she was, 22 or something, when I first played Pono for her, she had 5,000 tracks on her iPod. And I played one song for her in the car. That was a song that she had on her iPod. And when it was over, she just looked at me and she said, "Why haven't I heard that? Why have I never heard that before?"
Right.
And I said, "Well, the technology that provides you with the product can't handle it." And she said, but you have it." And I said, "Yes, I do. And we make this in the studio. That's what we make. It's possible to make this. It's just not possible to get it to you." And she said, "Well, how come you can hear it right here?" And I said, "Well, because we're doing it. We're making it." And she was very, very, at first, mad, upset that she had all of these tracks and she just heard this and she realized that she didn't have this. Then she went away to an art colony place where she went to some place in Montana to paint for a couple of weeks with some friends of hers, and they were painting and doing the art. And she had her iPod with her, and she emailed me back that she was really pissed off, that she really didn't like listening to her iPod. And you ruined my collection of music.
Right.
And by making me know what I don't have. But that said, it's a new day today. And kids know that today's a new day. They don't care that much about yesterday.
Right.
So I think that people have got a real good chance of getting this, especially young people who are alive and well, okay? No damage yet.
Right.
No damage like you and me. I mean, I don't know about you, but I've hit a few walls, and so.
And I guess ultimately, in the legacy of Neil Young, where does this fit? I mean, when we look back, I mean, is the idea that Neil Young made some records, but Neil Young changed the way we listen to everybody else's records? I mean, would that be a goal of this?
The idea behind this is to make music sound better so that more people can hear music and so they can feel the magic of the music, which is what I lived for my whole life, to create this stuff. And that's still what I do. And when I hear it in the studio, even through today's ears, I love it when it's great. And I want to create something that's great, and I want people to hear it. And, so it's not about me, it's about the music. If Pono was not a success because we're not successful business people for some reason, I mean, we've made a lot of mistakes already that have cost us a lot of time and a lot of money, but we've overcome our errors, we've overcome our mistakes, and we kept dedicated to what we wanted to do and what our goal was. And we stayed dedicated to, we knew that what we were doing was good, that it was going to bring happiness to people. So we just kept on it. So if we succeed, it'll be great. And if we don't succeed and someone else succeeds, like someone comes along and they got millions and millions of dollars and they just wipe us out, it'll be good for music.
And ultimately you're a guy who cares about music.
That's what it's about. It's about the music. So yeah, we want to win, and we're going to fight to win, and we're the first ones, and we've come along with a player that sounds great and an ecosystem to supply the music for it. And we guarantee that this is the best that you can get. It's the best available, and if it becomes available any better than that, you won't have to pay to get it better from us. It'll come, you download it again, and it'll be better than it was what you had. So if the tracks improve in quality because they get retransferred or whatever happens, the ones that have already been purchased, those belong to the people. When we sell you the best, you get the best. If the best gets better, you get it and you keep it.
And when you listen to this thing, and you listen to your catalog, what Neil Young song sounds the best?
Well,
I mean, I listened to
well,
Heart of Gold a few minutes ago.
Yeah, I hear it sounds pretty good. That's a recording of an analog. It's an analog master that's been recorded to the highest resolution digital, copied through the best possible equipment, mastered incredibly well in the digital domain. So it sounds just wonderful, because actually the vinyl records that are produced and were produced of Heart of Gold and Harvest were made from a copy of the master. But this digital master that you're listening to was made from the master. So it's one step closer to what we originally got. And it's in, you know, and it's at the highest resolution. So this stuff sounds great. But, you know, later on in the recording of songs over my life, you know, when I first got into digital, the format was at a lower level, and I recorded at that level. So I'm locked at that level. I can't record the analog anymore. So there's only a few records where I made that mistake, but it bothers me. So when I listen to those, I go, ah, too bad. I recorded those at CD level quality. They're never going to be any better. That's what I have. And that's the way the boat that some people are in. But even when you play a CD level quality back through the Pono player, without having to go onto the CD and through the CD's playback, which is pretty cheap, they're not great CD players. They're little DACs in them and everything. They're compromised. They're not high-end. Now, we have a high-end DAC and playback and filtering system by Air Acoustics inside our player, which is the best in the world. So we're a one thing. We do one thing well. And that's all we do. We don't have any bells and whistles. One thing well. Listen to music. And so that's what you hear. So all my songs that I listen to, I hear what's good about them and what's bad about them. And it's always been that way.
You just hope for more good than bad.
Thank God I have a choice. I can listen to what I want to listen to now. If I want to listen to one of my records in my car, I can. I couldn't listen for years. I would never put on an MP3 in my car and drive around. If I turn it up, it hurt my ears. Because the dynamics are so flattened out, it's like an assault. It's like getting slammed in the face with ice cubes instead of being in a nice warm shower. You know? They're big blocks of ugliness. You know, it's not the same thing. There's no steam around it, you know, there's no air. That's where the magic lives.